Philadelphia native Marcus Morris, 22 points. Shaking and baking right there. But perhaps a key sequence of the game. A minute and a half to go. Knicks down one. Morris a little bit out of control. Sixers come back the other way. Mike Scott, who hit 4 threes in the game, 3 in the fourth quarter. Big 3 to put the Sixers up by 4, and they win by 5, 109-104. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito, Alan Hahn, and Wally Zerbiak. We continue with Food Week here on MSG. We have the MSG 150 final. After the show, we'll be joined by special guest Patrick Ewing and also look at Melo's first game last night as a Blazer. But a lot to talk about before then, Alan, and the Knicks, oh so close.
It's amazing when you think about it. There's a couple of points in this game. First of all, we did say it in the pregame. This was a good matchup for the Knicks. You were expecting that they were going to actually have a really good time going up against this Sixers team because of the size factor. Both teams are big, so this played out the way we expected it to play out until, of course, it became winning time. First of all, Ben Simmons turns up the heat late third quarter and really changed the game. As the Knicks were almost up by 20, Morris had an open 3 at the end of that run where they were up 17. That would make it a 20-point game. He misses it. Al Horford hits this crazy bounce. Remember you said, how does that go in?
I know.
He hits that, and then it goes the other way, 14-2 to finish the quarter. But, you know, you also saw there the Morris, you know, wanted to do too much. He's at home. I think a little hero ball there, trying to make that shot instead of bring it out and get a good possession with 90 seconds to go. But I think the takeaway, in my opinion, is this, is that they are now starting to round into shape as a team that can be competitive and a team that has to still figure out how to finish games. But these last 4 games now, they do start to look like a team.
Yeah, and you also, I agree, it was a phenomenal effort, and the way that team was clicking and rolling to start that third quarter, that was such a good sign. It was a lot of fun.
Fun game to watch.
But you also got to learn when you got a team down, you can't let them just all of a sudden just start pressuring you on the defensive end of the floor and you don't hit them back. You got to know in the NBA, a team's going to make a run at you. When you make the old adage, we make our run, they make theirs, then we go back and make ours. That's the game of basketball nowadays in the NBA. Teams are going to make runs at you. You can't get flustered, especially on the road. You can't let the crowd take you out of your game. You have to get them back on your heels. And like you said, in that third quarter, Ben Simmons just started hitting people. He started jumping screens. He started
turned it up,
busting up coverages. He was just not running the game plan. Yeah, he did. He took over that game with his defensive effort, and honestly, it was a sense of urgency thing. Because Embiid plays lazy. I mean, that guy's out there. He's loafing around. It looks like he doesn't even care. Ben Simmons at home is like, wait a second, we need this game. This is a big game for us. He turned up the heat. His teammates followed the lead, and that bench played really well for Philadelphia, too. Trey Burke, you know, the old Knick, he came in and he gave them some really, really good minutes.
How about Mike Scott,
legendary Knick killer Mike Scott.
Always.
The Sixers, and you had to know it, too.
0 points at halftime for Mike Scott. 4 threes in like the fourth quarter, and the dagger threes. Great.
The bigger stat is this one. So the Sixers came into the game bottom third in three-point percentage. They don't shoot threes, and Simmons hits his first three ever. I mean, they're celebrating it like it was a big deal. But never mind, they're still not shooting the ball well from 3 at the half. They go 8 for 16 in the second half from 3. 8 for 16 for a team that can't shoot threes. This is that's an Achilles heel for the Knicks. They let you shoot threes. They were great in the paint. The Sixers are one of the best teams in the paint. They held them to 40 points in the paint. So they did a great job there, but still the three-point ball comes back to haunt this team over and over again.
All right, you talk about the last 4 games. Beat Dallas. Lose to Charlotte, heartbreak fashion. Had a 15-point lead in that one. Blow out Cleveland, and tonight winnable.
Had a 17-point lead late in the third quarter. So that's got to figure out a way to win these games when you have leads late in the third quarter. I know this is something that this team is trying to work through. Who's going to be their closer? Who's going to finish the game in winning time, especially on the road? They need to figure that out because to build those leads is heartbreaking to let that go.
This was a lot of fun to watch. They got into rhythm. Taj Gibson was great, by the way. But look at the ball movement. How about this? Where you go? Where are you from?
There's lazy Embiid. Doesn't want to move his feet. Taj Gibson just dunks on his head. Taj knocks down the 3.
Oh, phone home.
Yeah.
Phone home, Taj. Phone home.
They completely had this Philadelphia team on their heels. Ball was moving, they were getting stops, and it was honestly, when Horford and Embiid are on the court, I don't like that lineup. That lineup's slow, that lineup's plodding. That was a big-time advantage for the Knicks. Frank Ntilikina was knocking down shots all over the place. They were getting out in transition. Barrett's flexing. Barrett's looking at his right hand like, did I really do that with my right hand? I'm a lefty.
Doesn't hurt anymore.
It was good stuff, but I just think another thing, too, when you go to your bench, sometimes the momentum shifts because the starters started that third quarter with such dominance, and then when the Knicks started to trickle into their bench, which has been very good. You got to give the bench a lot of credit. They have been very good in games of late. I think the bench of the Philadelphia 76ers, they changed the momentum of that game.
Which is not the expectation
going into the fourth quarter.
Not the expectation you would have for this team, the Sixers off the bench coming into this game.
Yep.
All right, you referenced it. The Knicks are up 17. Marcus Morris has a 3, and it's also close for them to go up
he
by 20.
hits that. You're up 20. You get, you're still feeling good about things, although it's still plenty of game left. But it's just amazing how it turns. So look, I mean, this is wide open. Feeling great. Look at that. Get in there and you're up 20. But now, okay, so get down the floor, and Horford hits this crazy bounce.
That hits the front of the rim.
It goes in, and then look, now you're getting all this kind of stuff. Just, the ball's bouncing their way. You're not getting back. You started seeing guys not running nearly as hard. This is a beautiful play here. This will be on the volleyball, I think.
Yeah,
right?
we'll take a look at that.
That's a nice little two-man game. But you see it, it's a close game. It's back and forth. It's a battle. Look where he's shooting this from.
I mean, that's 28.
You got to get a hand up. You got to know who's in front of you. He's got emojis all over his body. He's crazy enough to shoot that.
It's true.
That's a tough shot there. Mitchell Robinson got a little soft here for a little bit.
Well, he had a couple of nice alley-oops down the stretch.
Yeah, but he wasn't setting the screen. There he is again, knocking down another three-pointer. Remember in Atlanta, he had that game against the Knicks?
I mean, these are
this is the one that got Bill. So 90 seconds to go, down 1, you get a steal, and Morris forces one, and who is it again?
It's a 30-footer.
Yeah, that's the smile emoji. That's the smile emoji on that one.
That's a keeper. Look,
way out.
Look at that right there.
And then here's the dagger right here again, wide open. He was 0 for 5 from 3 in this game, and then of course he hits that one. The foul was called, but the basket counts. By the way, officiating horrific in this game. I mean, Kenny Maurer is the only veteran there about that group. And they took 5 minutes to figure out the flagrant. How about that?
Messing up your train schedule.
5 minutes to figure out a flagrant. What are you looking at? Even the players were saying, "What are we looking at now?"
The end of the first
Guy's
half.
a little hot with the trains.
Now listen, the end of the first half was ridiculous with that.
No, you can't take that much time. Watch it 3 times. They missed a ton of calls on both sides.
This game had it all. A little scuffle, a little Embiid, Marcus Morris.
It was a fun game. It was a fun game, but I just had to throw in the fact that
Fizz was not happy with the refs at the end.
They called a moving screen.
Well, first of all, the more physical
Randall,
team,
but don't call it on Embiid.
Right. The more physical team and the more aggressive team gets rewarded by the referees. And in the fourth quarter and in the second half of the third quarter, Philadelphia was completely the aggressors. They just started hitting people. They started getting after people. And the refs are always going to favor that more aggressive team.
All right. On the positive note, Frank Ntilikina, 17 points. His career high is 18, but the 17 a season high. Another very solid game. Confidence seems to be growing and growing in terms of his assertiveness with the ball.
I love it. And he's just finding ways to kind of when to attack. And it's also, I think, for Frank, just getting continuity with his teammates that are out there on the floor.
Step back.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, and that was a step back 3 after he turned down a shot on that possession. He was wide open.
I love this.
But here you see, that's just a little bit of aggressiveness. Get into your one-on-one game. Just make your defender, keep him honest, and use those screens to your advantage. When you get screen, it stinks having a guard screen rolls. He knows that. I mean, running into these big guys right and left. Use the pick and roll to get you some easy shots and some easy opportunities at the basket. I think that's a great sign that he's learning the NBA game. That's the NBA game. The NBA point guards have to know how to use that pick and roll, have to know how to get into the paint, either throw the lobs up to the bigs or get yourself a layup or get yourself a mid-range jump shot. He's starting to pick up the NBA game. The defense was solid again. It always is. But you need him to have offensive games like this.
33 minutes played in this game, 1 turnover.
No,
which
that's
is a good number.
tremendous.
Now you're going to say
very careful with the ball.
Rest of the box score, not much there. No assists, no steals for him, which is rare. He does get a block shot, however, so he continues that. 1 rebound. So you're saying, well, he really didn't do anything else around the game, but he got a ton of deflections, which we'll find out about, of course,
definitely.
when that comes out. But you could see he added impact defensively. But there are nights where you pass the ball. There are nights you're the open man. Tonight he was the open man, running off those screens, as we saw, and he shot a high percentage at 6 for 8. The confidence, like you said, is there, and this is the way they want him to keep playing with pace. Push the ball, get into the offense, don't walk it up the floor, and he's doing that more. And he actually is more effective when he plays faster.
And don't forget, you look at the box score, Dennis Smith Jr. had 13.
He was great. Best game of the year.
Big second quarter, so the Knicks tonight got 30 points from the point guard spot.